Hello. I know it hasn't been very long since my last rambling video, but I have more to say and more that I've been thinking about lately, so I thought I would just share again. But this one obviously is more about life in general and just like how I've been feeling about my life and things. So yeah, um, I think it's always been said that comparison is the thief of joy, and that's very true in this case, but um, I'm still feeling what I'm feeling, and I should share that, I believe, because it might help someone feel less alone or less like they're the only one that's in their situation, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, basically, I've been feeling quite behind in life in a lot of different areas. And the first one, which I think is the biggest one for me right now, is being single, or at least living separately after being in a long-term relationship. So me and my ex-partner were living together for more than 3 years. We were together for 3.5, I think. And I was just sort of thinking about how how comfortable I got with that, and I feel like I'm sort of back to square one, single again after it was close to 4 years, and I was 24 the last time I was single, and yeah, now it's just so different, and when we were together, I sort of had thought for a long time that this person would be someone that I would spend the rest of my life with. So although it did end, there was a long period of time where that was my thinking, and so yeah, it was just a really weird transition back to being single all of a sudden after sort of having that person. And while I don't have any sort of further feelings for that person, yeah, such an adjustment. Even just little things that I was thinking about, like going to the supermarket, watching TV, just hanging out. I do a lot of that by myself, regardless of whether or not I'm dating someone or not at the moment, which I am. But it's just still very different from actually living with a long-term partner. Yeah, so quite interesting. Quite an interesting adjustment, and yeah, I guess it's exciting looking forward, seeing what could happen, but at the same time, yeah, a bit odd. um, the next one that's a really big one for me that's making me feel a bit bummed out is that I just can't see myself being able to buy a house anytime soon. I know I've spoken about money in previous videos, but realistically, you know, I don't know if I can do that. I currently work part-time in retail, which is another part of this that I'll talk more about, but obviously I don't earn a lot of money, so a lot of things would have to change in order for me to be able to even consider buying a house. So yeah, I guess with my ex-partner, I always tried to get those conversations started, what's happening, you know, what's in our future, are we going to buy a house, do you want to buy a house, that sort of thing. And while obviously no shade, I'm just sharing the experience that I had, my ex sort of didn't really want to discuss it, and if we did discuss it, it was more oh, there's no way like they could afford a house. That's what they were saying. There's no way they could afford a house. And so I kind of just thought, oh, okay, like if this guy on like a reasonable salary, like a full-time wage, whatever you want to call it, like with a decent job, doesn't think that he could afford a house, then like how could I? And so now that I'm single, I'm like, oh, okay, it feels like there's even less chance. But at the same time, it has made me think about like, okay, well, if I did want to buy a house, it might have to be by myself, you know? And like, yeah, that's kind of scary because it's obviously made me realize like how much money that would take and like how I'd have to sort of adjust my income and things. And it's just like so much to think about because that's such a big life adjustment. Just looking at my computer, that's why it keeps going from very bright to dark because it's my computer screen. But yeah, so someone I know just very recently bought a house and like I'm so pleased for them. Obviously they've worked so hard to get there. But it, yeah, just made me feel like, wow, I've got such a long way to go before I can even think about that as a possibility. And like my cousin, who is a very similar age to me, has a house and a partner and like, you know, they had a property that they renovated and sold and they've got another house which they own and like obviously so happy for them, but it just makes me feel like, oh my god, I'm so just like I might as well be like 20 years old. You know, I'm 27, but I feel like I'm just 20 or 21, like just like out of uni or something, like where I am financially. Like I do have savings, but yeah, like, yeah, as I've spoken about in other videos, like it doesn't feel like enough. But anyway, yeah, so I guess the other part of that is like my massive student loan. So I have a huge student loan and because I haven't really worked full-time consistently ever, like I've, and that's on me, but it means that I am very behind a lot of my friends. Like it's not like I discuss it with my friends, but I do know that they don't have very long to go on their student loans, or I can just sort of work out that they don't have very long. Like my ex probably was only a couple of years away from having his paid off, and like I'm so far off, like unless I dump all of my savings into it, it could be like over 20 years just from what I'm currently earning, like the amount that I have to get taken out legally from my pay every week. And it's just like, oh my god, because like that's so much money that could be going towards saving for a potential house or that sort of thing. Yeah, so kind of scary. And I know like, yeah, I'm lucky to have an interest-free loan, but it doesn't mean that money is just going to disappear. It still has to be paid off at some point. That's $36,000 that could still go towards something else. So, yeah. The other thing is that I don't have a car anymore. So I had my wonderful little Toyota Corolla, but she died. She died quite a few times and I did get her fixed. But she just became too expensive. She got broken into a couple of times. I got a window fixed, which cost $400, and then it happened again to the other side. And I just like didn't get it fixed, and so I sold it for like $350, and I just like, oh, it's so difficult because I really enjoyed having a car. I had a car when I was in Christchurch. I drove that car up to Auckland and I had it here. And I don't mind public transport, but like I can't just jump in the car and you know, late at night and go to the supermarket or something. I have to plan where I'm going to be. I have to plan like where I need to be in an hour and a half if I need to get somewhere. I need to be conscious of where I'm walking at night. yeah, I can't go very far unless I'm with a friend with a friend that has a car. And I do obviously appreciate it. Like, I have a couple of co-workers that drop me home if we're working a late night together. But it does make me feel very, it's taken away my independence. Like, makes me feel very young. And yeah, like, people have to look after me. And I do enjoy having that freedom. And so there's another cost. So I think basically I just need to increase my income. But then at the same time, another thing is like my writing. You know, I want time for my writing, and if I do take on more hours, that's less time for my writing. And so I have to sort of weigh that up a bit. And I do feel very behind in terms of my writing career. You know, I have published a book online, but I still have so much to learn, and I'm loving the process, but it is so slow, and I'm getting burnt out again just because I'm like putting so much pressure on myself to achieve these amazing things, but it's just such a slow thing. And I did start later than other people. I didn't know that I wanted to be a writer until I'd failed at so many other things, and so yeah, it's tough. I went to a poetry night the other night, which was really cool. Well, last night actually. And listened to some beautiful poets. Like, some of them were writers, like more long form writers like me. Some just did poetry, but it was so cool and it was very motivating, but it just made me think, like, how do I get there? And I know that I just have to keep writing, that's the only way, but like, it's very hard not to feel down about it. Yeah, I'm like, I like my flat, but it's not ideal. Like, we've got flatmates coming and going. Like, we had a couple that just moved in and they're moving out in like 3 weeks, and it's just like, I want to feel like I have a bit more stability, you know? Yeah. I was feeling quite down about it the other night, like just feeling like, man, I'm just so like behind everyone else, and I'm probably not, and it's just my brain. But yeah, it's hard not to get caught up in like blaming people, and like I'm an adult, I should be able to take responsibility for my own life, but part of me does still blame my parents. Like, they didn't set me up for a good life. they didn't they didn't give me skills. I've had to teach myself so much about discipline and, you know, working hard and things, and how to treat people, and something holding me back from getting a full-time job and something that might be a bit more high paying is I don't want to let people down, because I have, or in the past have had, quite shitty social skills and not co-regulation, what's the word, like regulation. So I really struggle with stressful situations, communication with other people, and social anxiety. I talk about it all the time. But, you know, it does make me feel like I just can't achieve the things that other people are able to achieve or were able to achieve at a younger age. So maybe I'll get there one day. Maybe I'll find a job that I can work that pays a bit better, and I can still do my writing, and maybe writing will pay for me one day. But there's so much that I feel that I have missed out on. Like, even from when I was really, really little, I feel like I missed out on those sort of crucial building blocks of becoming a person. Like that sounds very dramatic, but yeah, I'm not giving up hope. I'm going to keep on pushing forward and just grinding away, saving money, just doing what I can. But yeah, just need to be realistic and just say that's where I am at the moment. And yeah, as I said, I'm not wanting to blame other people, but that's my circumstances, and this is what I have to work with. I have the brain that I have, and I need to work with that. Um, yeah, I think that covered everything I wanted to talk about. Look, I know these videos are quite like ranty, rambly, but it's just how I feel. And I think it's very important to just talk about it. Um, yeah. So anyway, I think I'm gonna just take it easy for a wee while. Um, obviously just go to work, do my thing, save some money, sort of rein it in a bit, stop putting so much pressure on myself, um, stop comparing my life to other people's lives, but yeah, just keeping in mind like the things that I want and the steps that I'll need to take to get there. Yeah. And obviously, like, 27 is still young-ish. It's not like I have to have it all figured out. But would be nice to have some things, some different things. Like, yeah. Um, but anyway, I think that's probably it. Thanks for watching. Bye.